You've already contributed greatly and broken the ground for women startups with your past startup MsBiz.com. And could you briefly tell me about your vision for that company and the services that you were offering women entrepreneurs and startups?
Sure. Well, I started that actually back in getting the idea for MsBiz.com back in '95. And it took me a good 4 years to get the company funded, venture funded, both private angel investors and venture funding. And through that experience, I really realized and learned a lot about what it takes to get venture funding, and also how hard it is when you have a new idea around new technology and you're approaching a new market. And so I was going after women business owners who were starting or trying to grow their business. And at that time in the internet world, there really weren't that many women online, and so I was trying to show a growth pattern of women actually coming online and using the internet to buy products, to do business, and came up with this idea around Ms. Biz, which was a kind of community site that helped women to get information. We had an online advisor group, we had business products, you could do web hosting, and we were starting a kind of community events and classes type of a thing.
So ahead of your time.
Oh my goodness, it was a lot of work.
What years was that?
So I went through 3 different development teams. I got angel investing along the way. Put all of my money and time into it. And finally around 98, 99, I got my financial guru, who came from a large, one of the top 8 financial companies, and said, wow, you've done a great job here, you just haven't gotten really heard. And so he helped me with going out with the rest of my team, with my engineers and marketing people, to go out and get venture funding. And I would say that part of the process of getting venture funded is that you have to really understand and learn a new language. Because you have to go out and present financials and an idea, and you have to do it with most venture companies. They call it kind of the aspirin syndrome. They want you to provide an aspirin to a pain point. And if there isn't a market that already exists, you have to show, how it's good to have competitions. You have to show what's happening, how is that market going to, accept your solution, and then how are you going to grow that over time. And the biggest thing is that you can't be defensive, or you can't just shut down. And I think that I got I got the opportunity over a period of time to do terrible presentations to VCs and get totally rejected. And then you pick yourself up by the bootstraps and you go, okay, let's give it another try. And going out
from every attempt, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally you get to this place where you get a thick skin, and people will come at you with very difficult questions, and almost like, well, why do you think this is even going to make it? This this idea, that doesn't seem like it has any merit to me. Blah blah blah. And here you are. This is your baby. Whether you're a man or a woman and you're an entrepreneur, this is your idea, your baby. You've nurtured it, and it's like removing yourself in a way to say, okay, here's why, and here's the financials, and here's the reasoning, and here's this, and just remain kind of in a Zen-like state. and that's important, because what anyone who's going to invest in you, they want to be able to see that you can, comport yourself in a manner that's going to be calm and rational. And they don't want people that are going to be extremely emotional. And what I've also learned is that there are businesses that you may not want to get venture funded.
Okay. I understand that you are now running a new startup, the Thought Bank. Could you briefly describe what you're doing there?
Yes. Well, I'm pretty excited about this. This is my 3rd business, and it's a thought leadership consulting company. And I, after my Ms. Biz business, I went back into the corporate world and actually started working, doing different jobs. And so one of my last jobs was working at the Economist Intelligence Unit, doing thought leadership consulting, and so on the thought leadership practice. And so we did a lot of research for mostly kind of larger companies around ideas that help the market and help business people. It was more of a business-to-business environment. I'm now doing that on my own. I've got a team that I've pulled together, and we're doing thought leadership consulting. Really kind of creating thought leadership initiatives to help companies take a look at how they can help their market and their customers, and create kind of interesting content around that. And then using social media, create a distribution channel in some new media fashions. So it's pretty exciting because it actually even ties back into lead generation.
And again, you're a bit way ahead of the rest of the pack too.
Yeah,
but hopefully this time you won't be a sacrifice.
Right, I don't want to be a sacrificial lamb. Right. Well, I'm not going after VC funding.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
What personal lessons, being a woman entrepreneur, have you taken out of all your successes and failures as a result of your experience?
I would say one of the biggest ones is that you need to learn kind of what paradigms you live in. And so when I say that is that we all live in paradigms. I mean, it's kind of a structure of how you operate in the world. One of the paradigms that I used to live in is that I thought doctor equaled man. All right, and whether or not you know it, like you can say, "Gosh, I have a lot of doctors that are women," but yet I still thought doctor equaled man. And how I relate this idea is that in my decision making process, I would always kind of want to get you do this consensus taking, get a second opinion. Yet if I really felt strongly about something, I would sometimes defer to somebody who I felt who knew more than I did, and would take their opinion and let go of what maybe I thought was the right thing to do. And as you go through building your business, what you start to realize is that you have to really trust your own experience and trust your own gut to say, gosh, I think, having gone through this, I get the feedback, right? Kind of like the Obama way, I get the feedback, but yet what I'm going to do is actually make the decision based on my experience. And it's important to say, okay, go ahead and do it. So doctor can equal woman. I mean, you can rely upon yourself and say, yes, well, I may have the best opinion here.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not always you don't always see it, because being in a paradigm, until you get out of that kind of a paradigm, you don't even know you're in it. Yeah.
True. Thank you so much. It's a great wisdom. So at this point in time, what do you think are the possibilities for women sourcing venture? Because obviously there have been some changes since Ms. Biz days,
Right.
You may have been ahead of your time, I would say, because although women startups still only account for about 8 to 10% of startups that are successfully sourcing venture, there has been a lot of press and organisations recently helping to change the general awareness about women entrepreneurs, particularly in the last year. So what do you think the possibilities are now?
Well, I think that there are more and more opportunities for women to source venture capital. And I think that women have to understand what that means to their business. So women, I've been going to a lot of different events that have been hosted by law firms who are looking to get more women as clients who are starting new businesses. And that's exciting. Part of that kind of get out there and get funding is that women really need to realize is, are they a match for venture funding? They want businesses to grow exponentially and to have this huge target. So you really have to understand, if you're a woman and going out for venture funding, do you fit into what a venture capitalist is looking for? And there are different options. One is you can go for traditional VC funding if you can kind of fit your business model into what they're looking for. Yeah. Another is you can take a look at alternate types of funding. There are different funds that will fund you for the business but not expect to get a huge return. Right. So you can have a business that grows at a healthy rate, and maybe all you need is just to get some initial angel funding, or you might want to try some of the new funds that are out there.
And also you've got the debt-based.
Yes, and you've got debt-based funding, and the thing is that in this climate right now, that you're going to have to put up a house for collateral, or something, because you're going to have money to get money.
Yes, I understand.
Right, and so bottom line is that women. There was an article a couple of months ago in the Atlantic Monthly about kind of women are starting to start businesses more and more, and that there are going to be a lot more women who are kind of rising within business in ranks of management, but also in owning and operating their own business.
Yes.
So it is happening.
Right.
It is coming. It's just there's a shift and a transition that's taking place, and I think women are now, over 50% of the graduating classes from law school right now are women, and as women start entering more and more into these different areas, they're going to start getting more venture funding.